Okay, so here is the Desmos front page, and there's my graph, name and Conics. So I'm going to open up that graph. Okay. And the first thing you want to do is you want to change all the colors of your graph into black lines. So go up to this gear shift, and we're going to go one by one down there and change all of them into black. Okay, so one by one, all the way down the line. Make sure you hit every equation and change them into black. Good. All right, so then you're going to go to the top right of your screen, and you see the wrench. So click on the wrench. We're going to put it into projector mode, and we're going to remove the grid, the X, and the Y-axis. Okay. Now we're ready to share our graph. So up in the right, it's a little arrow. You want to click on that, and you want to export your image. Medium square is fine. Line thickness should either be medium or thick. Okay, I'll choose thick. We're going to download that as a PNG, and that will show up in your left corner of your screen, lower left corner. Okay. Once you've got that downloaded, you want to go to a new search, and you want to look for convert to SVG. Okay. Go ahead and click on that. The first one that pops up, image online, is fine. Go ahead and open that up. And you want to go to the little green box here, and you want to say choose files, and you select your PNG that you had downloaded. So go ahead and open that. Okay, and now it's loaded. It'll say 100, there it is. And so I want to start the conversion. So this is going to convert it into an SVG format. When it's complete, it'll show up in the lower left screen, right next to that. There it is. Okay, so now it's converted and it's ready as a vector to go into the Tinkercad. So first thing you want to do, go into Tinkercad. Okay, Tinkercad right there. If you don't have an account, what you might want to do is pause the video right now so that you can sign up for a Tinkercad account. I already have one, so I've opened mine up. Okay, so I'll assume you're going to go get one. So now what you want to do after you've created your account is create a new design, and it will ask you to import the image that we just had converted. So import, choose a file, and you want the SVG file that you just did with your name on it. So go ahead and open that up. It's going on the artboard. Click import. Now when it comes in, it's going to be large. That's fine. We're going to shrink it down. So move it over so you can see it, and put your cursor to the top right, way up here, and you see that little red square. But while we hold the shift key down, drag it in. If you don't hold the shift key, it'll skew it. And slide it back up again, hold the shift key down, drag it down a little bit, and pay attention to the size. You don't want it to be any bigger than probably 40 by 90 is as big as you want it, because you can look at that. These are centimeters. You want to put it in inches and figure how big a tag, little key ring you want. So having it be sideways, let me move it up just a tad here. I'm going to go down to this arc, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so I can actually see what I'm working with. Okay, and you can look at it. If you click on it, you should be able to tell, top right corner, the dimensions. So there it is. It's 84 by 34, which is fine. This in the middle will tell me how high it is. Right now it's 3.25, and I want to make it a little higher. So let's stretch it up, make it 87. Okay. So now what we'll want to do, let's move it up a little bit on our artboard. We want to drag over a base. So you have to choose, do you want a circular base or do you want a rectangular base? That's pretty much your choices. There are other choices on here, but as far as bases, those are the two flat ones. Polygon, you could use that as well. So I'm going to choose a box, a cube base. So just drag it over here. Okay. Now, if I drag one of the corners without holding shift, it'll turn it into a rectangle, which is what I want. Okay, and I'm going to stretch it down a little bit. Now, remember the dimensions for your name. Those were 84 by 34. So you want to make this at least bigger than that. So you can see your dimensions here, 35 by 80. So it needs to be a little bit bigger. So just Pull it out a little bit because you're going to need room for a hole as well. You're going to have to put a hole in there. Okay, and look how high it is. Okay, so if I click in the middle here, I can see that's pretty high. So let's shrink it down a little bit. Pull it down. Let's make it maybe 7 or 8. Okay, so if I slide this up, right now I can go to my top front and I can see what's happening. So they're level on the artboard. You always want to make sure where you are. If one's above the artboard because you pulled it up by accident, they're on the artboard. So I'm going to pull this guy, the name. First I'm going to select it and I'm going to turn that into a hole, and I'm going to drag the hole on top of the nameplate. Okay. Now, if it hides it, what it means is it's not showing up. So what I'm going to do is there should be, turn it a little bit. See that arrow, that black arrow that just popped up? Let's pull that black arrow up a little bit. Okay, so that pulls it down, pulls it up. So it's just that black arrow. Just pull it up a little bit. Okay, so then go back to your flat board and let's drag the name on top of the plate. Okay, now I can select all of it and I can click this button up here which says group it. And so that will then turn it into an engraved name on that plate. And I can double check. I can roll it over to make sure it didn't go through the bottom. Okay, sometimes it's a little too deep and it goes through and you don't want it to go through. So you play with that to see that it didn't go through the bottom. It's just engraved, and there it is on my plate. And if I'm satisfied with that and I want to put a hole in it so it's a keychain, I need to drag over a cylinder. Now, I might not like the keychain where there's not much room here. I might want to put it right here. If I want it over here, I might have to make my rectangle a little bigger, which means I'm probably going to have to ungroup it and select that rectangle and make it a little wider. Let's see, did it ungroup it? Let's ungroup. Let's move the name off of it for a minute. Let's drag the rectangle a little larger. Okay, and then let's put the name back on it. Okay, move the name over to the right so you have a little more room. Select it all again and then group. Okay, now I have some room in which to make the circle on this side. So I'm going to drag over a cylinder onto my artboard first. I'm going to hold my shift key down and make it a little smaller. Okay, so it's actually just a hole there. I'm going to select it, make it a hole, and let's turn it up and down to see how thick it is. See, it's thicker than the plastic base, which is good because that means it's going to go all the way through. So then I can take that. Let's drag the hole wherever you want to put it. I'll put it right about there, not too close to the edge because you don't want to lose it. Too thick. Okay, so grab that, unite it again, and now you can see that went all the way through. Everything else is engraved. It's ready to go. So now what you want to do is to get it ready for me to print is you're going to export it. So up here, download for 3D printing. You're going to export that as an STL file. Okay. And oh dear, one thing I did forget is you got to give it a name because the Tinkercad gives all these crazy names to things. So go up here and change the name. Julie's nameplate. Okay, so give it a name. Then once that's saved, then go ahead and export it as an STL file. Okay, and it'll come down as an STL file. And what you need to do then is you need to fill out the form in the 3D. So let me find that. So go to a new download, and you need to go to bit.ly/m3 make. Okay, bit.ly m3 make. And what will pop up, is an error message. Well, that's not good. Don't want that. Let's see if I can find it again. Okay, so the problem is you don't need to capitalize. So bit.ly/m3 and then make, no capital. Okay. And what'll show up is a form that you're going to fill out. Please use this form to submit your files. So I'm going to fill it all out. So Julie tell. What is the purpose? It's for a class project. When is the pickup date? Well, you decide. I mean, we have a couple dates coming up, so give, you know, a date that's reasonable. Give a week or so for us to do it. Request type, we're doing a 3D print. Okay, go next. And then for the 3D print, you need to choose what color you want it. All these colors, okay? I think they're all available, so go ahead and pick a color that you want. I'll choose blue this time. And add the file, so add a file, and it's going to be your STL file that you just did with your name. So Julie's nameplate STL. Okay, so open that up, and it should upload. Okay, now I'm not going to click upload because I've already done mine, but that's what you would do. And what will happen is it will go into the queue, and we will then, in order, print them and make them available for you to pick up right outside the M3 Studio. Okay? So if you have any questions, ask me, but I think that will take you all the way through the steps to get it ready and then download it for us to print. Okay?